Let me move the laptop. Hey guys, technical difficulty day.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show. At a little bit of a different location today. We're at Roxy's pad, and we've been having all kinds of. We're using the easy system today, but we still had problems. And matter of fact, we're not even sure if you're watching right now. So there is that.
There's Dave. And Miss Kim's here.
Oh, we got a couple of.
Hey guys.
There's Miss Kim. Hey, darling. And Super Dave in the house also. And we're glad y'all guys are here. We finally get it to work, get it to go live. So apparently it is working. So that's good. And you're going to trip me out if you keep moving all this stuff. Using different. What is going on here?
We were moving it a while ago.
You keep moving it.
We're too big. We got to squish together. Welcome to Friday, everybody.
Yeah. Is today Friday?
Yeah, it's Friday.
Oh, yeah.
All day long.
What was yesterday?
Thursday.
Tomorrow's Saturday, right?
Buzz. Yeah.
Smack you in the head.
Don't make me smack you.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway.
See, we grew up together, so
this is normal.
Yeah, this is normal for us.
This is normal.
Hope y'all guys can hear us okay. What we want to do with y'all guys today is one, try not to mess up so much, but two, we've got a really interesting, we'll call it a cosmology theory, okay? You know, a lot of times I'll tell you when I'm talking about theory or I'm talking about I feel like I know this or maybe this is just conversation, you know. I try to break it up for y'all guys. So we're going to call it cosmology theory. Cosmology as in the design of the big picture of things of our world. And I'm not going to say that some of this is going to make sense to probably 95% of you, but it is a very interesting conversation. It started out, well, actually it started years ago, but the conversation recently started. What are we doing?
I'm putting your notes on the screen.
Okay.
Keep on. Just because I'm 5'5" don't mean I won't smack you.
If she hits me, y'all guys document it. Okay.
It's on camera. It's recorded.
Yeah.
Evidence.
So the conversation started most recently in a text conversation backwards and forth between Roxy and I. And she's going to share up the screen here in a second. And we're going to show you the conversation and kind of just walk through it as if we were just now having the conversation and kind of give you our thoughts along the way. Plus, you can see a lot of our thoughts because they're written down. Can you zoom that?
Yeah, we can pick this up. Well, that's where it went. Ooh, that zoomed way too much.
Maybe a little bit bigger because we're trying to and get to the first slide.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get there. We're having issues. My poor PC is overloaded here.
Yeah, there is that. We're maxing out our CPU in it.
My poor little cheap computer I can afford. We're good now.
Okay, so we started this conversation, as you can see on screen. And I've shared this with Super Dave and Super Mike. And again, thank y'all guys for being there, our supernatural moderators. We've got Shannon, our co-host. She is watching and texting continuously right now, as a matter of fact. Every one of those, probably Shannon or either Miss Kim. But we're at Roxy's pad today, so Miss Kim is at her cousin's house, and Shannon is, where's Shannon?
Shannon had to work this afternoon, I think.
Shannon had to work. But we do want to recognize all of them. And like I said, Super Mike and Super Dave are probably in doing their thing in moderation right now. So let's get this conversation started. So Roxy, I'll let you read your stuff and I'll read mine so you can explain or whatever you want to say about it. Yeah.
Okay. I know you're drinking your coffee, but I need to put it in writing. World War II is not what we ever thought it was. Neither was Hitler. History is written by the winners. Put it this way, even gravity isn't real. To escape.
Hey, you see my cue card up there?
Oh, I apologize.
I said in response, yes on all three, because go back to the last one, first one. We're talking about World War II is not what we ever thought, and neither was Hitler, and that's true. See, the controllers in this world, what they do is they put they control the history. The winners control the history, and they like to make themselves the victims, and then make whoever they want to be the fall guy for the proper psychological reasons. Bad guy. Doesn't matter if he was bad or not. And I'm not even saying Hitler was good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they play these psychological tricks on you. And so she's right about what she's saying. And even gravity isn't real. Literally gravity is considered to be a theory, and a bad theory, because gravity isn't real. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. We got plenty more rabbit hole, trust me. So let's go ahead and go. So I said yes on all three. Your go.
To escape. In the water. Passage through the ocean. Evil can't cross water. They are literally trapped here. Monsters. This is what awakening really is. To realize the lie. When the awakening becomes too great in the number of awake, the monsters in control reset. That's what the Sentinels, AI, are scanning for. How much we know to judge when to reset before we destroy them.
And there's a lot of truth in that. The top image you see there was when she said that to me. I picked up my, because this isn't a conversation happening exactly one right behind the other. But when I picked up the phone to see what her response was, it always happens almost every day, where there'll be some version of 9/11 or 11/9 or some kind of version of it that will be on my phone when I pick it up. So I typically will screenshot it and send it to her. So that's what that is. And so go ahead.
And we've normally noticed that this happens when we figure out a puzzle piece.
Meaning the clock will be at 9/11 or some version of it. This will get more interesting in a minute, trust me. So it says, yes, I think you're right. They need to know they need to know our thoughts, our questions, period, meaning GBT, meaning chat GBT, and all this AI stuff. They want to know everything we're thinking. And we already see who they are in the logo. If you look at the logo of chat GBT, and if you have one copy of it, and you have another copy of it, and you flip it in reverse, meaning upside down or backwards or both, and you slide them over each other, you get the Star of Rifram or the Star of David, which are the same two stars. It's one of the images that these guys use. And there's certain words, because we are just directly on YouTube today on Logic Before Authority. So certain things we can't say here. But I think you know who I mean by they. Okay.
Well, my next was, that's why they try to program us. Hitler said, by the time people figure out what and who I was fighting, it'll be way too late. And then I said, up-down world. Upside down world exists. It's not inner Earth. It's the flip side of a magnetic rock we're standing on. And I said, OMG, that's how there's an ocean in an ocean. Magnetic polarization. That's why the poles move. My next text said, Agatha, that was supposed to be Agartha.
So what's your reference when you say ocean in an ocean?
I've seen several videos on YouTube and TikTok and everywhere else, and it's these divers, these ocean divers that go down looking for wreckages. And I wish I'd have pulled one of them up. But when they're diving, they're in the ocean, and then all of a sudden they can see a difference in like another level of water that they can actually reach and splash that water.
A more dense water at the bottom of the water.
Right. An ocean within an ocean.
Right.
It's like there's a line in some particular places. Now, I went through this theory in my head the other day with Antarctica and the salt content in the water and how the salt falls out the colder it gets, and then you get big salt rocks, and that's kind of where all that went.
So ultimately, if you go to the bottom of the ocean in some of the deepest areas, there's a layer of water down there that a submarine can't go into. The density of it is so dense. So there's like an ocean in the ocean. That's what she's referencing. Then what'd you say there? Agartha?
Agartha. That's supposed to be Agartha.
Agartha.
Or Agartha. I can't remember. It's like Agarthia. I think is the name that I've come up with through research that people keep referencing. That is the flip side of this rock.
Okay.
Upside down world.
So that's the upside down world.
Yeah, that's the one of the continents, one of the lands in upside down world. I'm pretty sure there might be a Tartaria there, a Atlantis there, quite a few other continents.
Now, without the rest of the information that we're going to be giving you here in a few minutes, we're going to sound nuts because you have to understand me and Roxy go back to childhood. So we have a lot of, I might say something to her. She knows exactly what I'm talking about, but somebody else wouldn't have a clue. So we're going to get in depth because you probably at this point think, what in the world are they talking about? An ocean in an ocean in an upside down world. We're going to explain. So where's the next? This is the next one?
Yep, that was your next one.
All right. So this says, and again, hopefully we're all adults here. Okay. There's no profaneness in anything that we're talking about. But I said nucleus, clitoris. I was noticing that the words have similar syllables in it, like cli, which means a high place, like nucleus. It means a high place, the cli part in it. And the clitoris, it means a high storm. Cli meaning a high place like a cliff. And torus is a storm, okay, or energy flow, okay. Both words contain same syllables and symbolic meaning. Cli or cliff means high place, torus, and us are there as well. I know. I know random thoughts, but I am seeing things like you are in new light. Our recent shows have my head spinning because every time we go down and figure one piece out, or go to a direction and figure another piece out, and once your mind has a chance to work on it for a while, and you spend time like meditating on it and thinking about it, and even pray on it, you will then all of a sudden realize that new piece of information opens 10 other doors or allows you to see 10 more pieces of the puzzle. So where are we at?
All right, this is an image I found.
So the previous slide was the one I was just saying.
Yeah, that's what you were just, oh no. Yeah, that's the random thoughts.
Okay, random thought. Head spinning. Then she comes back and hits me with this.
I found this. The plane of inertia, if you got a quarter, heads and tails, dead center in that quarter, let's just say there's a magnet there. Mm-hmm. There are people walking on the head, and there are people walking on the tail side of the coin. Ours would be considered Terra. There's the plane of inertia, magnetism between us, and Agartha. Yeah, Agartha.
So when I seen this, what it made me think about, which I'll probably talk about in the next slide, but I've been studying how everything works in this world. Particularly, I started looking at, y'all guys have heard me talk about it before, like hurricanes. A hurricane has a lower level low, okay, that sits right on the water, okay? And then it has an upper level low, a mid-level low that is a low that's spinning, because they're both spinning. And the lower level low that sits on the water on the ocean, it's spinning, but it cannot become a full-fledged hurricane and form an eye until it gets strong enough that it pulls over the mid-level low that'll be spinning off to the northeast of it. It's always the weather from a hurricane always streams northeast off of it. So there's another spinning that's happening in the atmosphere at a mid-level that's spinning. And when it gets strong enough, it'll pull it on top of each other. And you can think about this in human terms as well. The one comes over and they couple, the lower level low and the mid-level low. They couple. And when they couple on top of each other, they produce and they start to produce an eye, which in many times in places I've called that a point of creation. It creates an eye, it creates an image of many, many things. But I know right in the middle, okay, of the lower level low and the mid-level low, there's an area there that's called a plane of inertia. It's where two toruses sitting on top of each other, two things of great high level energy sitting on top of each other, and they spin in unison. Okay. Humans do this through procreation. Storms do it in order to get a greater storm. The heavens do it. Everything operates using this same symbolic system. Pretty much everything. I can't say everything because I haven't thought about everything, but a lot of things. So it made me think of that. But it also made me start thinking about this upside down thing. Okay. So let's see what I said on the next slide. Probably all the same exact thing.
Oh, this was the hatch.
Oh, yeah. And she showed me this too.
Okay. A while back when I was down the Ingersoll Lockwood rabbit hole, which I stay down on a regular, there was these GPS coordinates. And I think Shannon and I did a little episode on it one night. That silver looking thing you see there.
You can zoom on it.
Oh, I don't know why it wants to do that when
Your mouse is set too hot.
I like hot mouse. This is a hatch.
Looks like a hatch. And supposedly this is Antarctica. We haven't seen it. We ain't been there.
Haven't been there.
But supposedly this is down there.
But there's a part of this document that you don't see. This right here with these coordinates and these images is part of an actual military document that tells you when you get there to proceed at full speed, and when your instruments go haywire or quit working, to have no fear that you won't need them, that they will revert to the opposite polarity once you slip through Agartha to the other side of the quarter.
Theoretically.
This was supposedly a military, and I say supposedly because I ain't write it, so I can't prove it. I weren't there. I didn't fly the spaceship in. But Admiral Byrd, this is where the area where,
Supposedly the story of Admiral Byrd, when he went flying down there and he flew and flew and flew, he went through an area where nothing seemed to be working on his aircraft. Everything went haywire. And then he continued just to keep traveling, and
something to control.
Yeah, there was like something else in control, and he ended up being able to see a land that he never knew existed, and all these kind of weird things. But this isn't necessarily all about Byrd and what they claim and what they believe. We're going to get to, and we're getting there slowly, but we're going to get to some pretty interesting theory here about the upside down. And it's all tied in many ways to many of the shows that we've done. Is this what's next?
Yes.
So that's what Hitler found, you said.
Yes. That is right there at New Schwabland, base 211, which they swear doesn't exist. And yeah.
I said Agartha, or however you pronounce it, reminds me of a place they go for some reason. I couldn't put the pieces together. I still don't remember why. I kind of remember the name, but go ahead.
Admiral Byrd was dead on the money. That's why they all have a peace treaty.
Yeah, you know how we have enemies all over the world. Russia's an enemy. North Korea is an enemy. We got all these bad guys, right? But yet they all agree, we'll just leave Antarctica alone, and nobody can really go down there too much, or there's a peace treaty with that. Why is that? just because one, there is no such thing as these enemies that they want us to believe that we have. They're not our enemies. They're just people. The enemies are the controllers that are at the top of the systems. Those are our enemies, unfortunately. So let's see here. The plane of inertia is the coupling point of two storms. A hurricane does that, and when it does, the eye forms.
And I said, we are the eye of the magnetic Taurus storm. That's why Bird's instrument stopped. He crossed. What if Atlantis didn't sink per se? It just switched sides. Oh my.
And we're just talking, so some of this is more interesting than others, but we're just theoretically bouncing things backwards and forth, but you'll be able to see more specifically where we're going in a second. We might actually stop sounding like we're nuts. So I said, yes, we live in an eye image, aka storm image. This is why I use the full solar halo as my logo and background. What we see in the heavens is a reflection of where and what we are.
The moon is a reflection of the other side dome, as in firmament. If there are two sides to the quarter, a heads and a tails, and we are heads and Agartha is tails, both of us would have a firmament. But if you have two firmaments that touch up, that's a bubble. So if Antarctica would be a ring that ran all the way around our continent, and it operates like a bowl because the actual land height of the continent of Antarctica is higher than anywhere else. That's why the water can't get out. Water always finds its level. So when I think about the concept of a tennis ball, if you wet a tennis ball and you were to hang it on a string and you took your hands and spun it as hard as you could, the water's coming off.
You don't even have to do it as hard as you could. All you got to do is spin it a little bit, and the waters are going to come off due to centrifugal force.
The thought that we're spinning at 66,000 miles an hour in an elliptical circle around a big hot rock just don't make sense, because why don't the water come off to me? That's my theory. It's where my brain goes.
Well, technically, supposedly, and some of these things we're saying we can't prove. Technically, supposedly, the Earth at the equator is moving at 2,000 miles an hour. So if you're at the equator and you throw a rock in the air and you're moving at 2,000 miles an hour, but yet the rock comes right back and lands right back in your hand, you can shoot a cannonball or a bullet or anything straight up as far as you want, and it'll come straight back down and land in that exact spot.
Because if the Earth was spinning at 60,000 miles an hour,
2,000. We're moved. They claim that NASA claims the entire Earth itself is moving around the solar system at 66,000 miles an hour or something like that. But the ball concept that they say we live on, which I say we live in, the ball concept is spinning that ball. They're saying is spinning at the equator of the ball 2,000 miles an hour. And I'm explaining if you're standing on the equator, you can throw anything you want to as high as you want, and it's going to come back. If you have it pointed straight up, it's going to come straight back down and hit you in the head.
That's why you're not supposed to play lawn darts. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's my drawing.
did we? Yeah, that was a good one. What was the last? Go back to the last one again. And I said, well, I do know it's a reflection, talking about the moon. Deep pondering will show us. So the moon, in my opinion, is a reflection. And Dan used to ask me, a reflection of what? And because you can look at the moon, and which we're going to show you an image here in a minute, that's very interesting, that has our land on it, but it also has some additional land on it. And it's a reflection. You say, well, it's a reflection. How is it a reflection? It's all white. It's because it is the negative reflection. The sun is the positive reflection. It's the energetic reflection. Okay. And if you look at my logo that I use, it's the full solar halo. If you catch the sun at the right time under the right conditions. I've shown it. It's in my intro for the Supernatural show, where they're up on the mountaintop and they're panning the camera around and they're looking at the sun, and it's an eye. Okay. It's because it's showing us where we exist. It's a reflection. Okay. Showing us the light coming, the sun itself is a reflection shining down onto where we are. And because it's an eye, it's showing us where we live. The moon does the same thing, but it's the negative reflection. You see, it's showing us something like a negative. The old photos everybody used to take, and you look at the negatives, and they'd be all like white, weird looking. Well, the moon is what it is. The moon is the negative reflection of our, at least one side of our world. So let's look at Roxy's drawing here. I'm going to zoom that up. So what she's drawing here, I'll let her explain her version of it, and I might add something.
Well, I was trying to put it on paper to make my mind see it as right. Because the outer ring is the upper and lower firmament, as above, so below. So if above, we got ice on each side. Now, this is a cross section. This is not what the whole thing looks like. This would be a cross section.
Right. It's a 2D representation.
Right. On the edges, you have the ice, which is Antarctica. The continent of Antarctica kind of goes up like a bowl to keep our water in. Well, then you got continents. That's the little thing that look like rocks and mountains. It's a wonderful drawing. It's so first grade.
What's the guy's name that Picard or Star Trek? Picard, right? He was the captain of the Enterprise, the ship or whatever, right? Picard. There was an actual real man named Picard who went up in a balloon, and I can't remember what year it was. It was like 100 years ago. Him and another guy went up in a balloon, and they asked him, and you can go look up the book that was written about him and everything. They asked him when he got up as high as he went, because he went to I think it was like 80 some thousand feet. And when he got up there and they come back down, they didn't think they were going to live, but they did. They come back down. They said, "What did it look like?" He said it was flat with an upturned edge.
A bowl.
A bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's what this represents. Over here on this side, you've got the upslope of the continent of Antarctica. If it is a ring all the way around us, it freezes out toward the edge of the firmament. But on those edges or in that ring, and possibly tunnels in the middle here somewhere, like Machu Picchu, because you know they close yourself up in there and then nobody's there. So where'd they go? But if this is our firmament above and below, as above, so below, it's just the flip sides of a quarter. There may be tunnels or the ocean. If the ocean is a passage, because something's happening when you're down in the ocean changes, and it's like an ocean within an ocean.
It's like you go to the bottom of the ocean and you find the bottom of another ocean.
Yeah, it's wild when you see people.
What if that was it?
We don't have time for our brain to get that big today. We
You know what I'm saying?
I told you not to chew that neuro gum before the show. Okay, I said, so I think it's a bubble with a chunk of magnetic dirt in the middle.
So I said, we are literally divided down the middle.
Exactly. Your body's divided down the middle.
Yeah.
Almost everything living and breathing is divided down the middle.
If you look at your face, look at your body, you're basically an exact copy on both sides, and you come together. There's even a term for the dividing point in your body that if you look, it's particularly obvious in your private areas. There's a line
a seam.
A seam. There you go. That runs, well, your butt crack's a good example, a good marker to show you, that you are divided and you're put together. And the thing is, you have to understand it. All things in creation are made in the same way. Our Father in heaven did not create things complicated. Scientists did that. So then I said, it's a plain et of dirt in the middle with an upper storm, aka world, and a lower storm, aka world. And what I mean, just to explain a little bit, again, planet, if you're thinking about the word cigarette, okay, it's a smaller version of something larger. Et means it's indicating it's a smaller version of something that was originally larger. Cigarette meaning a cigar-et, or plane-et. It's saying this is a smaller version of a larger plane, is what they call the area that we're aware of and that we live. But I've highly suspected for a long time there's more things out past parts of the ice wall. And there's this slow rotation over time where the ice walls move and more land gets exposed. And then other land will freeze up. You'll have parts of the ice wall that's around Antarctica that will freeze up and be growing and growing slowly, slowly, slowly over hundreds and thousands of years, while other parts will be melting. And they know this. That's why they use the polar bears on ice cubes footage to try to scare you into making you think that this is happening. The thing is that it's completely natural and it's part of the supernatural world we live in. All things world, including our world, but not in the way that they told us. They told us we lived on the ball. We live in the ball. We live in the, what's those things you pick up and it's like a little snow globe. We live in the snow globe. But there's two snow globes attached to each other. One's setting up normal, the other one's upside down, which is the upside down world, or you might call it
Kind of like
hell.
an Easter egg that would pop in the middle, but round.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
If you
very
took a
similar.
golf ball and sliced it in half. so
See,
to
and if
speak.
you go to the Bible for reference to these things, the Bible says that the earth is stationary and unmovable. The Bible also says that the world is God's footstool. Okay, well, you would say footstool, you think about what that would mean as to shape and design and everything. So literally, and there's many other references I could give you, but literally, I would say, I mean, where we always heard that hell is? It's down. Think about the series Stranger Things, the upside down world. Where is it at? It's upside down below us. It's an alternate reality that you go through a portal to, or through a passage. In the Stranger Things, they show trees. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I know we got some more slides related to this. So
Well, I went looking for old maps.
I never quite understood what was going on here.
Well,
Maybe you can explain that.
that's
Looks
Antarctica.
like two inversions of each other.
It
that what
is, and you see, okay, the arrows in the middle, this is for polarity change.
Hmm.
This piece in the middle is the magnetic inertia layer. The one you see on top would be our continent now. Where your switch is, where those two brown spots right there, that would be like Antarctica, where your polarity shifts and you go
Okay.
to the upside down world. So if the other side is just a reverse
Meaning
of
why
this,
the compasses spin and all these kind of things.
yep, there's your whole compass thing.
Okay.
So then I went to looking at cartographers, map makers, from as far back as I could go. And when I'm looking at maps and trying to
Right.
pull some,
Like the Mercator dude and all these guys.
well, these guys went out on boats. Now we're talking the 1500s. They ain't got no motor. They got a bunch of people with paddles and sails and floating through the ocean. They had a tendency to draw on their maps things that they would see. These maps were well decorated, but there's a lot of information on them.
They were like a book.
Yeah, there are many, many, many maps of famous cartographers that show lands that we've never seen, whole continents we've never seen. So where did they see them?
Like the Gulf of California. California wasn't, according to, hold on. I had a piece of ice in my mouth. That ain't gonna work. Amazing you can't talk good with a piece of ice in your mouth. There was, according to a lot of the old maps, there was a huge body of water where California and Nevada area the line is. And California itself was an island. And you can go look this up on a lot of these old maps. It shows California as an island. And there were a lot of other places that these maps showed that apparently don't exist now, but they're on the maps.
Well, if you go, I go and look, just type in Google, look for a map with sea level reduced globally by 100 foot. It'll give you a whole new look at what continents were. Because we've talked about the trees. When you cut the trees down, they're not using the water's spewing back out, the water level rose, we had a flood. That water is still receding back to its level. I don't care how long ago it was. It is still receding back to its level. In particular, water will always find its level. That's why when they set up a mobile home, they use water levels. That's why there's a water bubble in the middle of a level. Water will always find its level. If it hasn't escaped to move, you have lakes and ponds and things of that nature. Sadly, I've now found out that Lake Michigan is a fake. It's man-made. It was probably never a lake. But that's what you get when you go looking at old maps. Some days you're just like, oh, I wish I hadn't been looking.
Well, I tell you, I now know why we don't get any new viewers, because anybody new that don't have reference going back at least like a year would come on this channel and go,
they need straight jackets.
They need straight jackets. Yep. Let's see. So we said the Antarctica, as above, so below. Now, the version I like to normally use is as in heaven, so on earth. But it's not just that, because as in heaven, so on earth, there's many reasons I could explain what that means, or many ways I could explain what it means. But what it is that the way if you look up in the sky, okay, you see 2 points of light in the sky. And we just happen to have 2 points of light in our head. And they say there's a firmament in the heavens. And we just happen to have a firmament above our eyes. And if you look, they're all sitting on nodal points, and they vibrate, they create frequency. They're literal angels, if you want to use that word, okay? And they produce frequencies. All of them produce the different frequencies that holds everything into place. Inside of our head, we have what's called synapses, and they sit on nodal points throughout your entire brain. Both left and the right side of your brain has all these little synapses that would look like, if you had the right kind of way to image it, it would look just like the heavens. Okay. And yeah, so as above, so below, we sound like we're talking about like an occultist. We're agreeing with Aleister Crowley or something. It's not that. It's just that even bad people tell the truth sometimes, and can say true statements sometimes. And understanding that as above, so below, it can mean that from the smallest, tiniest thing, you will find those things like a cell in your body. It's a cell, like a supercell thunderstorm. Supercell thunderstorm, the flow of that energy is exactly the same as the flow of the energy in your cells in your body. Why they call it a supercell. Okay, they just didn't tell you is all. So, but you got this tiny little storm. Your body itself is made up of millions of storms, okay, all working together to make your body function, okay? And if you look at the heavens, they spin just like a storm. So you got tiniest cell in your body is a storm. You got a supercell thunderstorm. You got a hurricane, and the heavens spin just like a storm. So from the smallest, as above or so below, to the greatest, above. Hopefully that makes sense better now, because I don't sound like I'm some occultist or believe in everything these guys think, because one, I've never read his book.
I don't ever intend to. I don't want to get near it.
Roxy said the answer was in the water. And I said, in the beginning, and then I said water. What I was making reference to is in the beginning, when the Bible starts in Genesis 1. In the beginning, and what they start talking about immediately the water was the beginning of everything.
All right. Well, then I had mentioned, because I don't know, the whole Dr. Seuss thing. A lot of schools have outlawed Dr. Seuss and one thing and another. And I want to think it's in the one with Cindy Lou Who. He talks about in his books, and it's a children's book and it's put in a children's way, but he literally says we're just a speck of dust in a bubble when you break it down to what he says. So then I said, oh, great. Now I got to know who Dr. Seuss really was. Dang it. This is where our brain goes. We get on these conversations and you're making side notes of like, okay, now I got to go research who Dr. Seuss was. What was his religious affiliations? Was he in this group or any secret societies? And
So at this point in the conversation, I said, and I could ask y'all guys the same question. Do you feel like Dorothy landing in Oz yet? In a place that does not feel quite like home? Maybe start to understand why I created that Beyond the
we're gonna
Veil
skip
intro.
that slide.
What's next?
That one was the one about me, but anyway.
Okay.
Evil can't. Oh, that's you.
You said, and I put it in quotes, quoting her, evil can't cross water. I said, remind me, what happened to the wicked witch when Dorothy threw water on her?
She melted.
She melted. And what was it that Christ said he was? He was the living waters. And
we are made of water. Water is everywhere.
We're like 70%. I mean, everything is of the water in a lot of ways. Absolutely, it is. And Roxy said she melted, and then she sent me a picture. I think I sent you a full size one. She sent me this picture that she has, like right behind us here.
Yeah, it's a ring box, is what it is.
She literally has
Dorothy's
shoes. I don't know if you can switch and show it to them real quick. Oh, they got a picture of it right there.
Yeah, they got a picture. I got that.
I've actually got it in my hand right here.
That has always been from when I didn't feel like I was home. I could always just shake my box and click my red heels and go home. Home has been a whole new journey for me over the past 5 years since the divorce. So home means something different to me.
Yeah. So my reference, do you feel like you're Dorothy waking up in Oz or landing in Oz in a place that don't feel like quite like home? Is because how we were raised and what we were told to believe and think growing up from a child is not the reality of what this world really is. None of it was the truth.
No.
And most of it were lies intended to manipulate us into living a life of mundrum, not having any meaning, not doing anything purposeful, never making any change or affecting anyone in a positive way. Is this the next slide?
Yeah.
Hurricanes have two couple.
Yeah, we already talked about the hurricane storms, and then it was red slippers.
Yeah, hurricanes had a couple lower middle. The beautiful, peaceful area sits atop. And I said, and on top is a beautiful, peaceful area that sits atop the storm. There's technically an area, if you look above a hurricane, that is, I don't know how to describe it, because you have a lower level load that's spinning. You have the mid-level load that comes in and couples with the lower level load that allows it to strengthen more and create an eye in the storm, or a perfect storm kind of thing. But then there's something almost, because we're talking about in the image of, so it's almost like above that is this peaceful area in the stratosphere that's like peaceful and heavenly like. And I said, what else did I say here? Oh my, you have the red slippers, yeah.
And then I said that's where your Sasquatch comes from, because everything I could find would say that the other side of the quarter, the upside down world.
I know this sounds crazy, but bear with us here a second.
May be way more technologically advanced than we are. Let me say this again. When I say we are, I don't mean us as in this side of the quarters. I mean, us as in the normies, the normal people out here that ain't in the government and wearing a white hat that know the inside of tech. Because if you'll go back and look at when technological advances were made, they were made directly after World War II when they go to Antarctica on expeditions to find out if Hitler had bases there. And then it's like, boom, our technology took off and you got microchips and televisions and we're going to the moon, which never happened. How am I saying that out loud? All of this. Now we all know that the technology that we receive today, cell phones, iPhones, FaceTime, the jets and stuff that we have today, is probably 50 to 100 years behind what the government has. So if we take into that concept that we're 50 to 100 years behind what they have, and we just have the iPhone, whatever, imagine what they found back then. Because they found all of this stuff back then.
Found or were given or something like
given, bargained for, negotiated. So this takes us into a whole theory of there's 279 side theories to all of this, y'all. This ain't one concrete theory we've come up with.
Yeah, that's why we're calling it a theory. We're not saying this is the way it is.
No.
We're saying, hey, check these ideas out.
But in religious histories, regardless of whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, the Hopi Indians, I can go on. I've cross-referenced them all. If you break down their creation story to the basic, you don't use the name of like whether they say it was an angel or an alien or this or that. The story is the same. They just called the characters different. And if you and I watch the exact same car accident happen, my version and your version is going to be different because I may call things by a different name. I may have seen something you didn't see. So when you got all of these religions and they all got the same basic story and the same basic history, there's some truth to it. Somewhere there's some truth to it. But
there's a lot of commonality in all of the different cultural, spiritual understandings. I mean, even if you go to China way back thousands of years ago, they had their own story that was very similar. It's just a repeating theme, which is very interesting. So now how did we get to Sasquatch?
Well, my theory is if the other side of the quarter is that much more technologically advanced or is that much more advanced than we are, maybe they have the ability to travel interdimensionally from side to side somehow.
See what it is, what we're referencing, and I think I've spoke about this on a show previously, is that it appears that these woods people, that whether you realize that these are these entities, these beings, these woods people, these hairy giants in the woods, whether you realize they're real or not, is based on whether you've ever had an experience or not. I've had an experience, so I may know her that they're real. Miss Kim has had an experience. She is a knower that they are real. And there's a lot of people. If you don't think there's a lot, go to the Facts by How to Hunt channel. He's a professional nature guide, hunter, hunts down grizzly bears, wolves his whole life. And he is a knower because he's had experiences with them many, many times in the woods in Canada. But they're not just in Canada. They can appear and disappear literally throughout the whole world. There's been reports in every continent you can think of, but some of the reports also say that they just somehow they have this ability to vanish, and it seems like they may be tied to some of the orb thing, like they go beyond the veil kind of in a way, and everybody's been wondering where they go. And then it hit me that at the Vatican, they're shown, aka depicted, as being below or from the upside down world. Holy smokes.
And then I said, that's why I keep getting this message that space is closer than I think. It's literally right under our feet.
And hopefully all these slides are in order, but it says, whatever they tell us, the exact opposite is true. And I've found that so much throughout my journey of diving into trying to find these truths. And is that if they say space is that way, you better figure out what the opposite of that is. Or if they say, whatever they say, the opposite is going to be more likely closer to the truth than their truth at all. Because they invert everything and turn it upside down. They do that with symbolism and everything. They do it in every way possible. I don't know why, but they do it.
We're going to skip my Mercury section.
Okay. Go back up one day. What did I say right there? Not that one.
Or did it jump too far?
I think you jumped too far.
Where'd it go? Oh, it jumped to a whole new page. That's the exact opposite.
Was that next?
Why is it doing that?
Well, one reason you're clicking all over everywhere.
See, it goes forward.
It jumps crazily. Okay.
Mercury.
So there's this next one. Have you seen the woods people depicted at the Vatican? Okay. I gave you a couple of images. Okay, this is one of the murals at the Vatican. Now, Roxy, Michelangelo supposedly painted this. And you can go pull this up for yourself and get a better image than this, okay? You can just pull up Michelangelo mural Vatican and look what's right behind the cross that's there. And if you look at it closely, when you get a better image than this, because I'm not in my regular studio or I'd pull it up for you, but there's like 2 or 3 hairy, giant-looking human beings down below. They are down below. Now, what does that mean? What was Michelangelo saying when he painted this? And this ain't just, you got to understand, every stroke of the paintbrush, just like when they create an animated movie like I Pet Goat, every pixel means something and it's purposeful. So it made me wonder, okay, do the Sasquatch, these beings, when they disappear, do they in some way have the ability to go to this upside down world? Okay, meaning maybe we're meaning hell or some version of that somehow, like a different kind of like different layers or levels in a game. You know, there's maybe it's not all the way to hell, it's like an in between or something, but they go somewheres. And this is a pretty solid theme with a lot of attributing confirmations, including I've seen them. Well, let me rephrase that. I've interacted with them and them no more than 1, 2, or 3 feet from me, right in my face, and I could not see them. Now, I'm not saying that is the upside down world, but it may be. They're obviously beyond the veil, or at least a veil. I don't know how many veils there are, but they're not there where I can see them, but yet they can slap the side of my house right beside where I'm sitting and about knock a hole in the house, hit it so hard. And I look over and they're not there. And so we're wondering, why did they, since I'm a knower, I know these creatures exist, whatever you want to call them. Why did Michelangelo put them as being under the earth and coming up through a hole? Is that somewhere as they go? Or was it just simply he just wanted to put one in a cave?
Well, see, when I start looking at all of the Antarctic stuff, of like whistleblowers that have claimed to be in the military and have been there and have come back, several of them speak of a Stargate. And they said it looks just like Stargate that was in the TV show. Well, if you look back through history in a lot of these foreign countries, they show old pictures of these men standing there with this big, huge, like stone Stargate. It's just a big round stone circle with all kinds of stuff written all over it, and but all of those look like they've been damaged. Well, we as humans tend to go in and step on things, as we found when it comes to artifacts.
We tend to destroy.
Yeah, we tend to destroy and rob. So what if
Village.
those didn't operate when they're finding them back then? Then World War II happens. They go to Antarctica, and there's a working Stargate there. And maybe there's others in the world that we just don't know about, or specific spots, or. But I mean, it's a possibility.
So in that picture, the previous picture, go back to it. I'm not going to go completely down a different rabbit hole, but zoom up to the angels he's depicted in the sky. What's every one of the angels got in their hand?
Trumpets, musical instruments. That's got a violin.
What he's saying is that they emit frequency. He's saying that these are actual deities, angels, beings, and this is the stars in the sky. The stars are angels who play music. They sing. They emit a frequency. So, anyways, I just wanted to point that out. I just realized they all got trumpets, and even the Bible talks about
and
the angels coming blowing the trumpets.
Colors mean something.
Oh yeah.
Like if you'll look at all of these artists from back then, particular people wear particular colors, and it symbolizes something. Just like every other symbology we see today with the hands and the logos, the same thing went into these paintings. Because back then there was no television or internet, and there wasn't a whole lot of written word. Especially when King James was editing that Bible. This is the crazy thing about the King James edit of the Bible. At that time in history, most people didn't have books in their home. Most people couldn't even read and write unless you were of some social status. And a lot of times, especially back then, women were never taught to read or write. So King James goes and dang near mortgages his country to edit, reproduce, and publish this Bible that he edited to try to get into all of these homes. But his previous two books were on witches and demons. And then he edits this book and puts it out. Anytime somebody edits a book and disperses it at their own expense, sounds like propaganda to me. So if you want a true version of the Bible, I think you have to go back to the oldest version you can find, which is the Ethiopian Bible.
Yeah, that supposedly is the oldest. And anytime man touches something, just like the story of we both seen that car wreck, but both tell different stories about whose fault it was.
We done talked about that.
This right here was kind of an interesting mention. It said in the book Baron Trump's Adventures, it's the book that was written by Ingersoll Lockwood, supposedly back at the end of the 1800s. And it has this Baron Trump character, and he goes to Russia, and he goes into a tunnel system that takes him to the upside down world, basically. And so it's like they put what very well may possibly be some truth into it, right in that book. And it's like, why did they do that? And of course, you'll see on the next slide, it said, Roxy said, the Ingersoll Lockwood is pointing us to the truth. I said, truth few will find, most lose, most get lost seeking what they want to find.
I said it sounds crazy to even say it, but dang it, I know we're right.
And what are we saying here? You see, and I don't know if we've got slides to all this, but in the movie Stranger Things, for a second, right? And Roxy said even that's why Elon is boring. See, he's got this boring company where they're drilling into where is the question. He knows he can't go but so far up. He knows this. That's why if you ever see a Starlink satellite rocket launch, it will go up a little ways and then turn because it has to. It can't go but so far up. It's got to turn and go flat out. If you ever see one flying in the sky, it's flying straight across. It ain't going up. So Stranger Things, upside down world. How was it that they got to the upside down once they started finding out how to get there? They went through the tree. The tree is the image of a portal, in the image of a portal. And it made me realize that there's a reason why they're using that symbolism of traveling through the tree. They're saying travel through a portal to get to the upside down world. And they call it the upside down. And this is theory. Okay. I'm not saying this is how it is. We're just talking. We're sitting around.
Do Lord, email us anything.
Yeah.
We're open to it.
Yeah. Don't email us if you just want to tell us we're crazy. We already know that.
We already know that.
But the upside down world. We've always been told that hell's down there. In the movie Stranger Things, there was a giant devil-looking thing walking around down there in a place that was all you could see was like a red light. You've seen it probably a little bit in the intro, the promotional video that I put out. And they get there through a tree, which is in the image of a portal. And it's also in the image of a volcano, which we've theorized also that down there, way, way down in the bottom pit, in the pit of the ancient trees that are giant trees that ultimately end up transmuting into volcanoes of today's time. There biblically kind of talks about it. It's like maybe that's where that goes to. Maybe to the upside down world. And again, we're talking theory here. This isn't, as Daniel says, I know this. Yes, I know there are woods people, but do I know yet that there is an upside down world?
Working on it.
We're talking about it. So we're sharing our thoughts. You don't have to listen if you don't want to, but we're glad you are. Now, this was an image that Roxy put together, and it shows biblically, cosmology-wise, what the Bible says the earth looks like. I know that we live like in a bubble, like two snow globes put together, which is kind of like what this image is.
And I took this image and cut it in half and flipped it and put it on the other one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a million questions as to that I have myself. So if you're thinking, well, what about this? Trust me, I got the what about this. But we do encourage you to put the what about this in the comments after you watch this video, or do it live if you want to.
Well, in your mind's eye, take that image you're seeing right there, the very top one. You see the land masses in the water. Remove the water. It's still all one big land mass with peaks and valleys.
And caves.
And caves and tunnels and
whatever's there, because we don't know.
Yeah.
They tell us, if you believe what they told us is down there, there's some of it that's true, that's down there. But what's really down there? What's really down? Is it the opposite of what's up? Everything else in this world literally works that way. What's up is also down. What's down is also up. But they exist in different states of matter. Kind of like how even water has different states of matter. You got ice, you got water itself, liquid, and you got gas as well, like steam. And so my question is it like they depicted in Stranger Things possibly? Are they aware of this? A lot of times in a lot of these movies, it gets put in there knowing that no one's ever going to be crazy enough to believe this. But yeah, this is the supernatural show, and I am crazy enough to realize they put things in there because it is known, but they turn it into such a movie that how would anybody ever take any of it serious? Just like 11 with her telepathy capabilities and all of her authority that she takes and has, is any of that real, or is it just all make believe?
Well, I watched the first season of Stranger Things, and I never watched it. And we went to talking about it. I've seen a little bit of it because, I've seen here and there, and I went to watching it. And there's a scene in there with 11 where they do a particular test with her. I had no idea at the moment why that little thing freaked me out. It's where they put her in a room with a cat with all the leads on her brain, and a panic attack ensued. And then I realized I had had that cap on my head in a facility being tested. So now that I've
When
gone,
you were how old?
Fourth grade.
You were in the fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
They put you in a special class.
No, they put me in that. They started testing me in second grade.
Okay.
I was one of those kids in school that had to finish the math test first and run it to the teacher to make sure she knew I was fastest, and I got 100. And never stopped. Didn't matter whether it was math, science, spelling, history. I needed everybody. I can do it. Watch how fast I can do it. Well, in second grade, they tried to skip me to third, and my mom said no. So in second grade, they tested me. In third grade, I got pulled into the GATE program, the Gifted and Talented. I continued in that till I was in. Well,
isn't it interesting how the GATE is gifted and talented?
Yeah.
GATE.
Wait a minute. Now I'm gonna give you a new spin on Stranger Things as we're talking about it. So when the 11 thing with the little cap and the wires, it kind of triggered something, and I had this flashback, and it sent me into full panic, y'all. I couldn't breathe, was about to cry. And I had the flashback of the memory of being there. And I remember getting ice cream on the way home. That's about all I remembered of it. So then I'm like, wait. Who are these dudes that wrote Stranger Things? It's a set of twin brothers. So when I go and look them up, they spent their whole childhood in a special talented education program for children at Duke University. Imagine that. The two brothers that wrote Stranger Things were GATE kids.
Or at least are credited with it. I would imagine that they had a lot of information given to them as well from certain ones who know certain things, that live in Hollywood. They are the ones that we're talking about.
Well, and like the whole evil can't cross water thing. As I've gone and looked at other cultures and other religions, you see a lot of people, and I know you people have seen them. You see the little tree outside, and people put like the cobalt blue bottles on them. That's to ward off evil spirits. It replicates water. There are a lot of older people that if you had an outdoor porch or any type of porch over your doors, they would paint the ceiling of it blue so as to appear to be the ocean, so bad spirits wouldn't come in their house. So everywhere I can look, there's multiple.
And then it made me think of the Wicked Witch getting water thrown on her, and she melted.
Yeah. I think water is a sentient being.
And what do they water? According to Christ, water is everything. And it's the first thing mentioned in creation. I don't think that's just a coincidence.
I've actually seen a lot of people now that are praying underwater.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. They in the movie, what is it? It was Tom Cruise, and it had the precogs, and they were in the water. I know somebody's shouting right now. It's this. Where they had pre-crime. They had these people they would put in the water, and they would submerge them in the water, and they'd put these head caps on them like you're talking about, with all these wires coming from it, and they would predict the future of when somebody was going to commit a crime.
Well, take a guess what they got now. Read an article the other day.
They got AI that's going to do it for one. But what?
Well, they've got a new program. If you committed a crime, that they will put you in a water tank with the cap on their head and will reprogram your brain, and you're a new person. 15 minutes later, your prison sentence is over because they've reformed you and sent you back out. They have reprogrammed you. I'm not kidding. They are trying to get clearance for this as we speak. Minority. Yep.
Minority Report. There you go. I knew one of y'all guys would do it. Y'all guys are awesome.
Y'all are on it.
Minority Report. Yeah. And then so you got those guys in the water, and then where did they put where was it they put 11 when they wanted her to have her supernatural abilities, where
In the water tank.
she could go to the upside down when she was in the water, and she could go across time and space and see people and do things in the water. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure I'm trying to teach anything here at all. We're just talking theory. This is the supernatural show. Zoom in on that map there, Roxy. First, let's go to the top first. Okay, take your mouse and circle what is the map as we know it.
Oh, this is us, right?
This is us. That's the North Pole is right in the dead center of that circle. Put your mouse at would be the North Pole as we know it.
That would be here.
Which that is not the North Pole for real, but that's another story. Anyways, that's what they would call North Pole, and down below that you've got Russia and Europe. Take your mouse to Russia and Europe.
Do you know I'm geographically challenged?
Let me borrow your mouse.
You take the mouse.
Let me drive. So you got the North Pole here. You got northern Russia and all that, and you got China in here. You got Africa over here, Israel down in here. You've got Australia. Let's see. Australia would be over here, I think it is. And anyways, you got your continents. Let me explain something to you. First off, your maps that you think are the maps of this world, they're wrong. All the continents are all sized wrong. Everything is way wrong.
Absolutely.
But here are all your continents, okay? In this big circle area here, the dark bluer area. Now, if we move down here to a picture of the moon, here are those same continents, all right here. Okay. Remember I said it was a reflection?
And I think that's why they have our map so off. That way we can't see that that's an exact.
You wouldn't want people to be staring at an actual correct map if there was a mirror image of it in the heavens that showed that there was a lot more undiscovered. Well, maybe it is discovered, and I'm sure it is, but it's a lot more areas of the world that exist. If you do your studying and you look at this image, and you look at this image carefully and realize what you're looking at, and don't take a knee-jerk thought and say, these crazy supernatural people. If you really start looking at this, it's going to really make you start wondering if Daniel's right. Is the sun the positive reflection in the heavens, and is the moon the negative, which is why it looks like a negative photo? See? They would not want the truth shining in their face every night, would they? Of course not. So therefore, they've got to change the map around so everything's different sizes. Like Greenland and Iceland. Greenland looks huge. It ain't. It's tiny. It's in the way down here in the center. Like maybe like right in here, I think. It's tiny. And then what is that right there in the middle that nobody even knows about? That's because on the top of all your globes, they always have that hole going through right there where they claim the north is at. They say the north is there, but there's always a hole in that little round gold-looking thing that's set on top, and it always covered up this area. You never even seen that area before on a globe or a map because they don't want you to. They don't want you to know what's there.
Well, and this all started with gravity for me. I had this theory one time. All the gas or jet fuel you would need to put in the wings of an airplane to make a cross-continent flight would weigh so much it would snap the wings off. It just didn't make sense to me. Well, then I got to looking at anti-gravity. It's not anti-gravity, it's anti-magnetic. The Earth we have a Schumann resonance, which is the magnet. It's giving you the heartbeat. That's the magnetic pulse of the Earth.
And that magnet, we're talking about the magnetics, north and south, the Arctic and the anti-Arctic, the north, the south, the negative, the positive. its magnetics. And if you have in your sky above you, you have the positive, which is the sun, and you have also the negative reflections of that energy as it spins, as it moves. All those things, when you really start digging and looking and thinking, if you really put effort into it, it's really an amazing thing to see and start understanding. You're going to have to learn how to use that mind's eye to be able to really see. When your eyes are single, as Christ said,
Well, when you think about the earth, the dirt is magnetic.
it's called the ground.
The ground, well, if that's magnetic,
It
all
is.
of the oceans, their waves come towards the shore. So the water is seeking the greatest magnetic anomaly nearest, which would be the biggest landmass sticking up, which was magnetized. I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Well, Tesla knew this because when he up in New York on Long Island, where he had his facility up there, and it had that big ball on top, then there were electrical components that went down through the soil, way down into it, got into the fresh water system below that, because he knew that in order to communicate across anywhere in the entire world, or even to send electricity anywhere in the entire world, like when he tried to do it over in Russia and blew up a good portion of Russia with an experiment back in about 1903, I think it was, something like that. Another whole rabbit hole we won't go down. But there's some, I call it the terrestrial standing band wave. Terrestrial standing band wave. It's the electricity and the current that flows underground. You have electricity and current that flows underground, and at every 33 feet that you rise up above the ground, the electricity changes as well. Just like when you go in the ocean and you go down to 33 feet, 33 feet of water is the exact amount of pressure on the human body as the entire atmosphere of air above us. And when you go down 33 feet, I know this because I'm a certified diver. You go down 33 feet, your ears will have to pop. In order to go again, you then have to go 3 times that before your ears will have to pop again. So that would work in reverse. If you go up 33 feet above the ground, there you hit a different level of energetics. But then to get that again, you've got to go 99 feet more up in order to get another magnification, a multiplication of that energy again. And they know this. This is why all the old Tartarian looking buildings all has all these spires and everything on it, because they were pulling electricity out the air. It's obvious, it's true, and yes, it's supernatural.
We're back, guys.
We're back, and I hope we gave you some interesting things to talk about. We're hanging out here at Roxy's pad today.
All weekend.
Yeah, all weekend. Ain't that cool? And but we wanted to come and hang out with y'all guys a little while. Roxy was very excited, and so was I, because I haven't been to her place yet. This is the first time we'd be here. I've seen some little photos and pictures, but she's got a cool pad. This is the kind of place, she kind of mentioned the other day, back in the 70s, if somebody would have said, "Hey man, when we get done here, why don't we go back to the pad? This is the pad."
We can show them the background. I think we can see
Show
it.
them a little bit.
We can show you a little bit. I know we talked about it a while back, everybody. Hang on, I'll put some light on it. We were trying not to blind you guys with the light today.
You can see she's got some soundboard back up there, and she's got her theme is basically 70s pad. I'm surprised she don't have bean bags somewhere.
I've actually tried to order bean bags, but they want a fortune for them, man.
For a bean bag?
Bean bags, they're expensive. I wanted one of those big bean bag couches. I ain't got that kind of money. We ain't
Right.
got that kind of money.
And she's got her couch is
Mustard yellow.
mustard yellow.
My chairs are red.
She's got like 70s, pretty much everything, as you can see with the look and everything. She's got a cool pad. But we're gonna go enjoy our time together. She's my niece, but she's really like my little sister. We grew up together from birth. You know, we were always together as kids, and
I bear his name. He was supposed to be a girl. The girl was going to be named Melinda. He was a boy and got Daniel. I got Melinda. Yay me!
well, you changed it to Roxy, so it don't
That's
matter.
right.
Like I don't like that. I'm going.
I
With
don't
Roxy.
like that one. I never liked that one.
Guys, we hope you have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And Tuesday nights now.
And Tuesday nights. Roxy will be live at least on Tuesday nights
Me and Shannon.
with the Roxy Files. Oh, you and Shannon?
Yeah, me and Shannon are doing
And
the show Tuesday.
Shannon is preparing her things that she needs in order to start her own show. And then we have potentially 2 other shows as well that we're going to join all together as the Supernatural Network. And so we'll have a schedule put together where everybody will be able to see the shows that are involved with the Supernatural Network. And so that way you'll know after this one's over, who's up next. You know, so we're continuing to try to grow things, improve things, and yet always tell the truth. Or at least tell you if it's theory, because we don't know if we're saying
And
the
not
truth for
sell
sure.
out in the process.
Yeah, and no selling out. We just don't sell out. It ain't money that's going to get you out of this world. It's just going to keep you in this world. If you love the money, if you love the things of this world, it's all right. You'll get to have it again someday, maybe. Me, I'd rather go ahead and take a vacation out of this world when I'm done here. Maybe I'll be done and go back home. So this place can suck. All right, guys, we love you. And thank you, Roxy, for having me here in your pad.
That's right.
And we will see you guys again, if not sooner, on Monday, okay?
We might talk to you tomorrow. We don't know how our
You
day
never
will
know.
go.
We might go, let's do another show.
Let's go. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.